Working? Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:05, sound close. We acknowledge that the town of Winnipeg Beach is located on First Nations Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people in the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties made on these territories. We dedicate ourselves to move forward with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to make Manitoba an inclusive and accessible place for everyone who lives here. Just a reminder for the gallery to keep her calm. Agenda item 4, approval of agenda. Mover, please. Seconder. Be resolved, the agenda for the May 28, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. All in favor? Carried. Item 5.1, recess for public hearing. Be it hereby resolved that the regular meeting of council, May 28, 2025, be recessed at 6:07 for the purpose of holding a public hearing as required on the following matters: conditional use of TWB-25-06C and variation TWB-25-08V. Mover, please. Seconder. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, I will read the introduction for Mayor Potton.
Saving my singing voice.
The purpose of this public hearing is to receive representations from the applicant and any persons who wish to make them concerning conditional use TWB-25-06C and variation TWB-25-08V. We will hear first from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make representations, starting with anyone who wants to speak in favor of the proposal. At the end of the other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. If in the response the applicant supplies new information or raises new issues, then the others will be given an opportunity to speak again. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into a debate. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when other presentations are finished. This is not the time to question the members of council. Under the Planning Act, the purpose of a public hearing is for council to receive representations and a discussion or argument involving members of council is inappropriate. There should be no interruptions while a person is making a presentation. Order must be maintained. Minutes will be kept and the proceedings will be recorded. Written submissions and reports may be presented, but copies must be made available to all those present who want them. When all presentations have been completed, the public hearing will close. If the hearing is not completed today, either because we run out of time or further information is to be provided, then we will adjourn the hearing. If we adjourn, we will tell you at this hearing the date for the continued public hearing. There will be no other notice given today. Until council's decision is made, there can be no further communication of any kind with council or the members about this proposal. When council makes its decision, all persons who made representation at the hearing will be notified. When council makes its decision on the conditional use and variation application, it is final. There is no appeal to the municipal board. If anyone has a preliminary point or procedural objection to raise, please, may we hear from you now. If not, we'll begin. Okay. We'll start with the applicant. Yes. Yes. You guys want to have the big seats?
The hot seats?
Oh,
Sure. Okay. Oh, you can tell it's normal.
So nothing, just. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So we have here, we are, of course, the owners of the Rose Beach House. And first, let me start by saying we have absolutely loved our time here for the last 4 years. So we're super excited about our upcoming project, the developing of the lot adjacent to where we are now. While we were doing our planning, it turns out that our parking spots were somewhat limited, and we were really struggling with trying to find a way to fit our guests' vehicles on our spot while they came to see us. So we ran into the lovely Susie and her partner who own the property behind us, and we purchased that lot. So that way we'd be able to move some of the parking spots in behind and sort of solve that problem. So we had an issue and we created a solution, and that's why we're here today. We're hoping to turn the lot behind our 2 existing lots into a place where we can have our guests park. So I think we have it for how many spots? 22. Yeah. And that's it. Ta-da.
Have a good night. No, just kidding. Any questions?
There's definitely a parking issue in this town. I'm just wondering if they have any plans for being able to monitor and ensure that those spaces will always be available for people who are renting their suites versus the public parking there on a Saturday morning and spending the day at the beach.
Right. That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, can I physically be on hand to try to control someone? Probably not, but we are going to have large signs that say for guests only parking, that kind of thing. So doing all the necessary things to try to encourage people to not park there, much like other private parking, lots. That's kind of our plan for now. I'm not really foreseeing a huge issue, but maybe, I don't know. You have more experience in this town with that than I do.
Anyone else?
No.
Well, I think it's great. Well, sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna be taking their license plate numbers and everything, and maybe putting a little toll if you're not part of it.
Well, we hadn't planned on having anybody outside of our guests parking there, so when they register with us, they register their license plate numbers. So when they check in, everything is, we have all that information.
Will you be checking them nightly or?
I hadn't thought of this either, but we could certainly ask our staff to make sure that it does coincide, for sure.
Because people from the hotel may be parking there.
Right.
Et cetera, when you have boardwalk days, it gets pretty congested downtown.
Yes.
So they'll probably be parking.
I'm very naively on the whole trust.
Be nice if we could all do that.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so that's excellent. Yeah. We can do that.
You plan on having, you said 22 suites?
No, there's 22 spots that are possible.
Okay, but it's like, it says 11.
Yes, because we have 22 slots that are possible. That's when you can actually speak to us better than I can, Mel. The site planner came out.
Yeah, so the site planner, with all the dimensions that were required of the planning district for parking spots, realized that there could be 22 spots, but currently we have 5 suites at the existing Rose Beach House and then the main house, and then we're expanding on to Main Street with 11 extra suites. So we would have more than enough spots for both the existing
Right.
and
And
the
this will be
expansion.
fully contained, like fenced? Will you have
We don't have that in the plans, but we could if that would be
Well, I'm just thinking, because you plan on
recommended.
being open through the winter,
Yes.
so again, you're gonna probably have to provide electricity for block heaters, et cetera.
Right.
So you'd have to
Which we
attach
have
them
this
to
year.
something.
Yeah. It's like, it never has done that, but yeah, okay,
Well, when it's 30 below zero, you're
Right.
not plugging your, yeah.
right.
Yeah, because if you're gonna get into through the winter, then you quite possibly will have fishermen.
We have,
Yeah.
yes, we do get lots of fish in
So,
the throat February, March,
Probably fencing it with receptacles would be a good idea.
yeah. Okay,
And
And that
hydrant,
would cover some of the, I mean, they would be listed, and you would have security as well for the.
well, we were just talking about making sure that the license plates, but we hadn't thought about fencing it in, but maybe that's something.
Well, if you're gonna, yeah, with the number of units in that, obviously you're gonna have some sort of front desk person.
Oh,
That's
we have,
capable of,
we
yeah, if I
have,
have a situation, and I'm in my suite and I go, I need help, I need to know if somebody's gonna answer
we
the
have
phone.
somebody here in town, yes, and we also have cameras all over the property now, and we will continue to do that. So we actually have a security consultant that came up and did it all for us, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Did you have your hand up, Larry?
No.
Oh, I forgot you did. Anybody else? Any questions? I'm glad you're building.
Thank you, we're so excited.
Okay, all right. We have received no written, letters for, or objections. And we have no people registered to speak for or against this matter. Okay, that's everything for this.
Well, good.
Unless council has any further questions at this point?
Okay.
Larry does.
When were you planning to proceed with this?
The building,
Yeah.
well, we are, because we have our summer season now, and we're quite busy, we're gonna break ground in September.
Yeah,
So,
because last year, I think you said you put shovel in the ground in October, but I guess there was a parking delay, so
We-
we're all set.
didn't have enough room for parking
Right.
spots, yes, so.
September.
Solve that problem now, and away we go. Yes, so, yes, and we could start now, except we didn't want to disrupt our summer clientele because we know we would hear about it, so we thought it'd be best wait till, the
Yeah,
fall.
thanks very much for building our town up.
Yeah.
Development is a big thing in this town, and 100%, 150% for it.
Oh, I'm so
Cannot stay
glad.
stagnant, so congratulations.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
Alright. Thank you
Jen?
very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to go back to your seats.
Sure,
or-
thank you.
Okay. You're welcome to stay there too.
Oh, no, that's
That's your
okay, we're
cozy.
good. Someone else can have the hot seat.
Agenda item 5.1.2, close public hearing. Mover, please. Seconder. There. Be it here resolved, the council now close the public hearing for variation TWB 25 and conditional use TWB/25, and council reconvenes the regular meeting council at
6:17.
All in favor? Agenda item 5.2, conditional use TWB/25-06C decision. Whereas the applicant, owner of the property located at 25 Hamilton Avenue and legally described as Lot 19, Block G, Plan 1074, roll number -12100, in the town of Winnipeg Beach has applied to the town of Winnipeg Beach for conditional use TWB/25/06C to permit for non-accessory parking. Therefore, be resolved that after careful consideration for the application and representation made for or against this conditional use, the Council of Winnipeg Beach in meeting duly assembled this 28th day of May 2025 approves conditional use TWB/25/06C. Can I get a mover, please? Jean, seconder? All right. All in favor? Agenda item 5.3, variation TWB/25/08B decision. Whereas the applicant, owner of the property located at 2 Main Street and legally described as Lot 1 of 2, Block G, Plan 1074, Roll 10-500, in the town of Winnipeg Beach, has applied to the town of Winnipeg Beach for variance TWB/25/08B to decrease the minimum on-site parking from 11 stalls to 7 stalls. Therefore, be it resolved that after careful consideration for the application and any representations made for or against the conditional use, the Council of Winnipeg Beach in meeting duly assembled this 28th day of May 2025 approved variation application TWB/25/08B. Mover, please. Seconder? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item number 6, confirmation of minutes. Be it hereby resolved that the minutes of May 14th, 2025 regular meeting be approved as circulated. Mover? Seconder? Jean? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 7.1, accounts payable approval. Be it hereby resolved that council approves the accounts payable listing being check number 24368 to check number 2440, inclusive of checks, electronic payments, and payroll issued in an amount of $153,640.43 as circulated. Mover, please. Seconder? Gene? All in favor? Or any questions?
I
Sorry.
have questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, check number 24382 says I'm guessing admit fax line for 6308. Does that mean we have a fax machine?
Yes,
And we use this all the time?
yes.
Okay. Have another one. 24405 and 24406. Purchase interest on what? We're paying interest? I thought we paid this stuff off monthly.
It would be the card interest on purchases. We do pay monthly, however, with the transition of cards, there was some issues on payments.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen that. So that we're assuming that'll never happen again.
Correct.
Okay, and then I have another one, 24408. And that's one of 2, but cell phone charges for $349. We're buying cell phone charges. What's that?
That's our annual phone bills. They're put on the credit card to pay.
For the chargers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have another one, 24410, Current Club donations for $105. We're getting donations on our credit cards?
That was within the, there was a resolution of council to provide a silent auction. We provided some swag items, but that was to cover the balance of swag to meet the 250 donation criteria.
Okay, and then last but not least, 24434. We're paying the fee at Donato landfill for a box spring and mattress coming out of the Public Works building?
Yes, someone had dropped it off after hours at our shop.
We don't have security cameras, so we would have no idea who did that.
Unfortunately, we do not.
Okay, maybe
That
we
being
should-
said, provisions have been put in place to make sure that things are locked up and secured
Yeah.
to prevent it in
People are
the
just-
future.
I mention it because there is a charge to do that,
Yes.
you know, so, okay, that's it. Thanks.
That's all.
That's it for me.
All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.1, campers for cure silent auction donation. Whereas a request for donation has been received by the town of Winnipeg Beach, therefore be it resolved, the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach authorize a silent auction prize in amount of to campers for the cure. Mover, please. Second. discussion on this one? Do we do this annually with these folks?
I don't think we've ever done this one.
Yeah, I don't think we've
I've
heard
This
this
is a
accountants,
new,
no.
this is a new request.
Do we know what they do?
It's,
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but
yeah, I think it's similar to like a walk-a-thon, where you like a cents per kilometer or whatever. So, because it says that the fundraising goal, a minimum of 250, which isn't like a huge amount, so. But at the same time, I mean, do we, go ahead.
This is an individual asking for a donation. This isn't the organization itself. This is an individual who's participating in it, who's asking if the town would make a donation towards their wall.
that doesn't actually, I believe, it just doesn't
Did you
state
read the
that.
letter? The letter attached does say
Yeah.
that.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Well, it says
Yeah,
member
you
of,
didn't
member
read
of
the letter
campers.
back. So the letter says, indicates it is an individual who is participating.
But I think she represents, and I think you're right, Gene, but I think she represents a group of campers. So, I don't know, I agree with you. I'm confused, so I would just say defer. I'm not interested. Seems somewhat confusing.
One second, hang on a second. Can we, Marquette, would it be possible to perhaps ask administration to get some clarity? At times, this letter reads like it's an individual making the request for themselves, and at another point, it looks like it's being asked for on behalf of an organization. What's the deadline for this? Do we have time to?
June 14th.
That's our next meeting.
June 11th is our
So,
next.
yeah, would we be able to defer this until administration is able to find out more clearly whether it's an individual, like somebody's asking for a donation for their own fundraising, or if it's being asked on the organization?
I would leave that up to administration, like what do you feel?
Yeah.
Should you give a call?
We can provide that information to council if you would like to table the item for further clarification. Yeah.
All in favor to table?
Table it? Yeah.
So we can mark it.
Table. Agenda item number 10.2, request to reopen food cart pilot project number 1. Whereas Council Resolution 2022/462 authorized the food cart pilot project Phase 1 at the Farmers Market for the 2023 season, and whereas the Phase 1 pilot was completed without incident or violation and demonstrated no negative impact to local businesses or public vendors, safety, and whereas the original vendor from Phase 1 has submitted a request to reopen or operate under the same terms for the 2025 season, therefore be it resolved, the council approve the reopening of food cart pilot project Phase 1 at the Farmers Market for the 2025 season. And be it further resolved that the vendor shall adhere to all original conditions, to regulations and operational parameters as established under the original Phase 1 pilot. Mover, please. Seconder? All in favor? Oh, that's a question, sorry.
Yeah, I would like to recommend, based on what was done with the pilot and the fact that there was no issues, to allow for a little bit better planning for the individual who's made the application. I would actually like to see this to go to at least a 2, if not a 3-year commitment, provided it is always the original vendor from Phase 1.
That's not in here. Any other discussion, anybody else?
I would just expound on that a bit, please.
Sure, we had the pilot was successful, there was no public issue.
She wants to,
Hang on, the applicant, I'm just not sure if it's okay to be using names at this point. So the original vendor was of the assumption based on the success of the pilot, if I'm correct, that everything was okay to reopen again this year, and it was brought to her attention, no, you were only given 1 year. So I'm just saying, in order for her to be able to do some planning, we know it was a success, and so long as it's her, and so long as it's always the original vendor from the phase 1 pilot, that we allow it to be a 2-year or possibly even 3-year, so that they don't need to keep coming back to us and they can plan every year instead of waiting to find out what council's decision is. That's all I'm suggesting. I don't know if we need to keep looking at this every year.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was just because it's now 7 days a week. The original pilot project, correct me if I'm wrong, but we passed a resolution to allow it to be used at the driving range and Monday through Thursday, and there was an option they could use it at the farmer's market on the weekend, but the pilot 2 was being able to move it from the market to the driving range and to use it 7 days a week, unless I'm mistaken.
Pilot 1 was just to allow to operate at the farmer's market.
Correct.
Not the other location.
Right, and then the original pilot it was misunderstood that it could be there for 7 days a week, I think, but don't.
Yeah,
so-
I would have to go
But
through and double check all the
but-
parameters of the original pilot project. I don't.
Right, because there was I have the memo, it says there was a request to extend the pilot project to include a new location from Monday to Thursday and allow continued operations as a vendor at the farmer's market. So basically this food cart was to stay on the property, but be able to be moving back and forth from the farmer's market to the driving range and 7 days a week. And unless I'm mistaken, I think that's what pilot 2 was, and that's what we proposed.
Pilot 2 is downtown. Pilot 3 is just for operation at the golf course.
Okay, so are we talking about pilot 3, or what are we talking about right now?
We are talking about reopening pilot 1,
Right.
which the parameters state that only 1 mobile food cart will be permitted, that the mobile food cart will not be permitted in the downtown core area, that it will be permitted for 1 season only, and that the town will monitor feedback from the community, and then if there's any breach of terms, that the pilot will be terminated.
Okay, so Councillor Gendron's proposal was for multiple years.
So
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, Mayor Cotton, last year, the operator came to us and asked about a second part. And that was the whole issue with the CCAN and getting the CCAN, and multiple locations. But I'm just thinking, there was no problem in phase 1. There was there was some minor changes to it last year with the CCAN and everything that was required from council by the vendor was met. The CCAN's been painted, everything that we requested has been done. So all I'm suggesting is, instead of this having to come to us every year, that we at least give it 2, if not 3 years, provided it is always the original vendor that was involved in the phase 1 pilot. If that changes, this is no longer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Anybody
Oh,
else?
it's an extension of pilot 1 and multiple years.
Yeah,
Correct.
so do we want to go 25, 26, and 27?
So you want to go 3 years? I have a.
I'd even say 5 years.
Well,
Well,
As long as the vendor.
Yeah, one at a time.
How about we give 7 days a week, because they're on 2 different ends of the properties.
well, yeah, that's the
Only one
original, that's the
person's
original.
property.
That is the original.
Yeah, the dates aren't specified for operation in the original pilot project,
So
so
she
they,
knows 7 days.
yeah,
that's
the
in there.
applicant can operate
And it's mobile.
on whatever dates that
Okay.
they want. It's just to allow them to operate at the farmer's market
Okay,
location.
and so
Yeah.
I wanted 7 days a week, but we already got it. So we're gonna give you 7 days a week. I'm all in agreement for 3 years.
Yeah, my suggestion of 3, Mayor Cotton, is we all know what it's like when we come in as a new council and we're having to maintain things that the previous council
Yeah.
decided that we may not agree with. So this is giving this year, next year, the start of the season is this current council. That will, and then a third year would be 1 year with the new council and time for them to take a look at it and what they want to do for the following year. So that's why I'm suggesting 3.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that. So you're gonna have to give us a resolution, I frankly just wanted to.
Yeah, so I'll just change the verbiage of it. The third whereas, when it states that it will open and operate under the same terms for the 25 summer season, I'll put 2025 to 2028.
Seven.
Thank you. 7 summer season, and same with the first, therefore be it resolved that the farmers market will operate from 25 to 2027 season. And I'll just make that change here. 25 to 27. Yeah, that will cover the basis for that 3-year period.
I concur.
Everybody's good now? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item number 10.3, new tree planting assessment report. Be it resolved the council accept the new tree planting assessment report as presented by Green Drop Tree Care. Mover, please. Seconder, any discussion on that?
It validates what we had thought. And it's nobody's fault, but we assumed that some of them, there's, I think, what, 40%? 50% of them are done well. And then there's about 15 to 20% that aren't done well. But through nobody's fault, the root balls and everything were covered, and so some of these might or might not survive. And they were free. You know what I mean? Like, they were given to us through a grant through the federal government. And we could have probably ordered less and done a better job, but in our effort to plant trees, we planted as many as possible. And I think, in fairness, we're gonna lose some trees, and we knew that.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, they were frequent. They actually did cost us money. I would suggest next time maybe we get, if we do get the free trees, we can hire a nursery, somebody professional to put them in, they'll know the canopy, et cetera, et cetera. Because this has cost us probably close to $10,000.
They did say, though, in the nursery, whoever provided these, that when you plant a tree, you cannot cover up the bottom part of the tree because it just gets rot. And they came that way. The root ball in the tree was already covered over. And they were planted that way, and we would never have known. And so some of these trees are going to die because of that. And it's the fault of the nursery. It has nothing to do with us planting them. It doesn't have anything to do with where we plant them. So, but you're right, maybe a better nursery. But they were. I think it's safe to say we're going to lose some trees. But
You good? All in favor? Agenda item number 10.4, GHS Scholarship. Whereas the Town of Winnipeg Beach annually awards a community scholarship to students of Winnipeg Beach graduating from Gimli High School. And whereas council has reviewed all applicants, therefore be resolved that council award $500 each to applicants. And further be resolved that scholarships be issued upon proof of enrollment, and be it further resolved that member of council attend the graduation ceremony to the present. Mover? There. Seconder? There. Discussion. We're all in agreement? Oh, sorry, Jean.
So in the past, and I thought we may have a scholarship policy, I'm not sure, but in the past, priority has been given to students that went to Winnipeg Beach School, and based on addresses, one is from Matlock and one is from Winnipeg Beach. My personal opinion, and it's only mine and I'm one vote, is that they were all suitable applicants to be in receipt of a scholarship. So I would like to see the applicant from Matlock and the applicant from Winnipeg Beach to be successful recipients. In the past, before we go any further, this has been discussed in camera because they do not want the students to know who is successful. They want it to be a surprise on the day. Can we, it's too late to move this in camera. Could we defer this to a special meeting Monday morning with 48 hours notice and in camera? They want the students to be surprised and for us to be making, they'll know based on discussions who won.
How about we just don't put the name on it?
No, just talking about where they live and things is giving a hint as to who may be successful.
I think it won't take long, so why don't we do it today in camera? It's still on the
What
agenda.
everybody wants.
I'd like to get it
Change
done.
the agenda.
Yeah, our agenda's
Our
already set.
agenda's already set.
Can we pass a resolution to move to the
No,
agenda?
no, it had to be done at the time. Just dawned on me that that was why, because the school does not, the school would like the recipients to be surprised that they are
Rather
successful.
than come to a meeting, can we do it over the phone?
Oh, yeah, special meeting can be done by phone, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
why
we
don't we
just
just
pick a
plan it
time?
for Monday morning, 9:30 or whatever?
yeah. And that'll give administration 48 hours notice.
Yeah.
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 I'm good with that. Monday morning, 9:30.
So we're just gonna table this till Monday.
Yeah.
Call special meeting.
Everybody in favor?
We can phone,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
I agree with Councillor General on the
Yeah.
confidentiality.
Well,
Yeah,
just
good, no,
the element of surprise is really what it is
Yeah.
the kid, you know.
Did we pick a time?
9:30.
Monday at 9:30.
Is it feasible, Mayor Cotton, for administration to be able to get the notice out by 9:30 tomorrow morning?
Jordy will.
Well, I guess
call.
Friday even is good, okay.
Yep.
Yes.
June.
Yep. So the only thing that's changed is table until Monday morning at 9:30.
Yeah, the decision.
And we're doing this by phone?
Yeah.
Phone? By phone. All in favor?
Did we vote on the table?
Just agreed to
Yeah,
table.
we agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agenda item number 10.5, signing authority clarification. Whereas section 8 of bylaw 02-2023 specifies that agreement checks and other negotiable instruments must be signed or authorized by two of the following: the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the chief administrative officer or designate. And whereas the town of Winnipeg Beach currently has a signing authority policy, resolution 178/2017, that references additional signatories not specified in the bylaw. Whereas the council deemed it necessary to clarify the designated authorized signing officer for financial transactions, therefore be resolved. No, there's no name in here, sorry.
Yeah, that blank.
Yeah, here is hereby designated as an alternate signing authority under section 8 of bylaw 02-2023. Number 2, administration is directed to update the bylaw signing authority policy accordingly and ensure operational compliance. Mover, please. Sorry, seconder, planner. Any discussion? All in favor? Isn't?
There will need to be discussion just
Yeah,
to clarify
yeah.
on who, what position
Okay,
it's going
sorry.
to be, whether it's the deputy mayor or finance chair.
I go with deputy mayor. Everybody's looking. And can we name them as opposed to say deputy mayor?
I would not recommend that, as you would have to amend your bylaw
So
constantly.
mayor, deputy mayor, and CAO.
Don't we have another one on
I wouldn't get more than 3.
Finance officer.
It just says or designate.
Okay, so that's,
Yeah, because it has to be a signing authority from council and a signing authority from administration.
okay. Yep.
Just a question, your policy has to follow your policy has to follow the bylaw, so the policy now needs changing, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So I'm just deputy mayor?
Deputy mayor, yeah. This is, again, just to confirm.
Oh, sorry.
Deputy mayor's not going under the therefore be it resolved, is it? No, we're eliminating all of that, aren't we? Because,
This is going under, number 1, is hereby designated as alternate.
no, the deputy mayor's not designated as alternate.
He's designated.
Oh, right.
He's already
Place of
designated
order.
in the bylaw. The policy needs to be
Okay.
changed to match the bylaw.
So then we will,
If we're being
Then
resolved
let's-
that the policy, whatever number, be amended to coincide with bylaw number
um,
2023.
why don't we just say, because the bylaw already has mayor and deputy mayor, we'll just confirm that we'll do number 1 to confirm that the bylaw is the signing authorities.
Okay, but I'm just wondering, you've also got a Morris, the town of Winnipeg Beach currently has a signing authority policy that references additional signatures not specified by the bylaw. I'm wondering if it needs to say, therefore be resolved that signing authority policy be amended to match the policy. Or the bylaw, sorry. That the policy needs to be amended to match the bylaw, and then there's no confusion.
Okay, so we'll just eliminate number 1 and just under number 2, administration is directed to update the signing authority policy. Signing authority signing authority policy accordingly and ensure operational compliance. Do you want me to update that on yours? Mayor Plummer?
Please.
I'm going to scratch that one. Instructed to update
Now we throw it into there. We're not.
No, we're just confirming, because council confirms that the bylaw is the signing authorities and that
Okay.
administration is directed to update the signing authorities policy accordingly and ensure operational compliance.
She's read that. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, discussion. Everybody's good? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item number 10.5.1, signing authority amendment. Be it resolved that be appointed as signing authority for the town of Winnipeg Beach accounts with the Access Credit Union and RBC. And be it further resolved that be removed from signing authority. Mover. Seconder. Discussion.
So just to clarify, this will be, we'll be appointing Deputy Mayor Barry Gould as signing authority. And we'll be removing Councillor Denville. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, squeeze the last 2 letters of your name in. I wrote too big. So you want me to reread this resolution? Just because we have the names in it? Or you're good?
If council wants you to.
Does anybody want the resolution reread, or are you good?
No.
Thank you. All in favor? Agenda item number 10.6, complaint handling policy 2025-06. Be it hereby resolved that council approve policy 2025-06, being the complaint handling policy for the town of Winnipeg Beach. Mover, please. Or second. Discussion.
I like it.
Everybody's good? All in favor? Carried. Cough a couple times through this one. Item one, number 10.7, Maple Beach access. Whereas the previous platform and stairs at Maple Beach were destroyed as a result of a significant weather event, and whereas the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach recognizes the importance of restoring public access to the waterfront and ensuring community safety through the reconstruction of this infrastructure, and whereas there is currently no formal municipal procedure in place to guide the design, construction, or maintenance of piers in the waterfront structures, now therefore be resolved, the reconstruction of Maple Beach platform and stairs is hereby approved to replace the structure damaged by weather event. Number two, council directs administration to develop a piers construction standard procedure, that will establish clear guidelines and requirements for the construction, maintenance, and replacement of piers and similar structures on municipally owned or regulated lands. Mover, please. Seconder? Chair? Discussion. Go ahead.
Is there any thought been given to actually giving them a pier so that there's consistency at every entry to the beach? As opposed to just stairs and platform?
Well, there's a pier on Poplar. There's one more access there. We're
Yeah, so,
gonna-
yeah, we maintain piers. We have a pier at Poplar, we have a pier at Fifth, we have a pier at Seventh. I'm just saying, is there any consideration being given to, for consistency of entry into water, that they also get a pier rather than just stairs?
I think it's more inclined to get down to the beach. That's what I think.
The existing pier structures already do allow access to the beach from the
Oh, right.
initial platform. Yeah. So it would provide that, and then it would be an addition to extend.
Yeah, but the walkway down is on Maple, so it's on a different street. It's just a platform.
Yes.
So you can get up on and walk down the stairs to the beach.
Right, and my comment was, there's been any consideration for consistency that we provide pier access there as well, instead of just stairs and platform.
So a pier and a set of stairs down to the beach.
All of the when the town took over the structure of the piers, one of the things that is consistent with them is you have the option to either go out on the pier or go down the stairs to the beach. They're all built that way.
Well, it's the same thing. So does everybody feel up to making another pier? I mean, that's the question.
Can I just ask you guys to speak up a bit, please? It's hard to hear back here. Sorry, thank you.
It's the fan.
I think you just heard me now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just repeat what I said.
We
so
can
that
hear
they-
you.
heard-
Kill
okay.
the
Yeah,
fan.
yeah.
It's cold anyways.
Thank you.
That's better.
Even feels better on the ears. So this resolution states platform and stairs to the lake. So you want to change this resolution, or
Well-
do you want to see if anybody's interested in
Well,
changing it?
it was called for the question and discussion, and so what I've raised is, has any consideration been given to giving them a pier as well, so that we have consistent access to the lake?
Okay, not from me. Has anybody else thought of it, or?
I haven't really thought of a pier, I've thought of stairs down there.
Yeah.
A pier would be consistent to what, others have, as long as there's an access from that pier. Because I know on some of them, there isn't, in Luck, I believe, that you just go up the pier and right to the lake, and there are no stairs up to the beach. But then that's a lot wider than what we have here at our beach. So if there's a breakdown, you know, this is going up the pier and then a set of stairs down and continuing onto the pier to the water, I'm fine with that. And as long as it can get done this year.
And that is a and that is a construction of our piers, is that they're all built with the stair entry and then out. So you have your choice of beach or water.
My only thing is, why don't we just have Joe give us some sort of an estimate that on the cost difference between having just the stairs and the platform and the pier, because if it's only like $400 or $500 difference.
No, a lot more.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna be a lot more than that. We can get a price from Joe, but it's.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it was, like right now, I mean, all we're doing is we're replacing something that was there.
Yeah.
If it's gonna, you know, so at least that way we'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I
It's
can,
okay to say, yeah, let's build it, but if it's $10,000.
yeah, I can get some cost estimates for council.
Sure.
If you'd like that before
Yeah,
making
can we
your
just stick
decision.
with the stairs this year? and
Yeah, I'm
maybe
good with-
put it
I'm good
into
with the
budget
stairs,
next
and
year for-
Yeah, maybe
Up here.
plan, yeah.
I was just raising a point for
Oh,
consideration.
it's a good idea.
And we can,
and-
everybody's
No.
talking.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I kind of agree with Councillor Hole. Let's go ahead with it and then, I mean, we wouldn't have budgeted for it anyways this
Right.
year.
So budget for that.
So maybe we'll go ahead with status quo for this year and sort of make a note to consider it for next year at budget time.
Really
Sounds
really-
good to me.
Yeah, really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you gonna add to this one, or are you just making a
No,
note for it?
I'll just make a note
Okay.
on that. We'll develop a procedure to include all of them, and maybe even potentially turn it into a policy to come before council, just again, to solidify the standards and the expectations of council, the department, and the public.
Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.8, Main Street temporary sidewalks and benches. Whereas when business take out a sidewalk patio permit, the town of Winnipeg Beach installs temporary curbs to direct pedestrian flow around the closed sidewalk portion. And whereas council would like to change the current temporary curb setup, therefore be resolved, the council directs administration to. Mover, please. Second. All right. Discussion. Yeah.
Just curious to know what's behind this being on the agenda. There was no additional information.
I put it on, asked to put it on the agenda.
Okay, so what are you wanting? Like, I'm just not clear what's before us for consideration and discussion.
You talked to Joe today about different avenues for this.
So Mayor Potton was wanting, or had indicated to me that he wanted to change the existing low-level curbs that are probably 6 inches above the ground, roughly, to a higher standard, 2 feet, just for clear pedestrian flow and walkway, due to safety concerns, if that's correct, Mayor Potton?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So with that in mind, I did do some investigating to see if we had some alternatives in stock already that we could potentially utilize that would be a bit higher than the existing 6-inch standard. And we do have various items that could be used right now to meet at least a 2-foot minimum requirement to provide for that access to the directing of traffic and to prevent vehicles from entering that pedestrian walkway area.
Any question? Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, I myself have tripped on those curbs probably 2 years ago. They are dangerous, especially when it's a little darker out. And there should be something a lot better in this marketplace than those curbs. Those are actually for cars to back into, and they stop right there, not for putting on the street. And I realize that there's got to be something there between that and the patio, so the cars don't come right up to the patio, right? But again, those, and I've seen several people people, not only myself, trip over them, that several people have tripped over them and hurt themselves. So, to keep lawsuits away from this town, I suggest also that something be replacing those 6-inch curbs.
I brought this up just for safety. That was the only
Yeah,
reason.
it's a safety issue for
My
sure.
wife's cousin's husband, that sounds like a long story.
Yeah.
She went down over one just looking around, never seen it, and she got really beat up on the asphalt. So, and I have heard of other people, and I have seen 2 other people trip over it, and I was one of them. Sorry, go ahead.
2 parts. The original sidewalk extension were wooden boardwalk boards with ropes and everything, and somehow they managed to use that wood. And this just became some sort of I'll call it a fix, these curbs. So I agree, they need to be done. That wasn't the original plan. The original sidewalk, extended sidewalk was much better and actually beautiful. Like, it was the original wood from the wooden boardwalk. When you say you have something available now,
So,
are these the water-filled ones, or?
there are the concrete barriers that are approximately 2 feet.
We have them available already?
We have them available already that we could repurpose. We have those yellow flower pots that that the beautification team decorated to have bees, and there's 2 by our office here. We could repurpose those and put a rope barrier in between. They would be higher and then would direct traffic.
How many of these 2-foot blocks do we have? These, like, they call them a turnpike wall concept. Yeah,
We have
enough to cover. How many patio license applications do we have?
3.
3. Do we have enough to service all 3?
We would just have enough to do 3.
And that's
of
just
those.
that's without the bumblebee flower pots?
Correct. Yeah, and there are other.
I like the flower pots, but
Yeah.
the first person that hits that, the bumblebee flower pot's gone.
Yeah, we do have other concrete bins that can be repurposed. So the concrete would be a bit more sturdy. I would recommend, if council does want to make this change, that we word the resolution to just state that the barrier be higher than 2 feet, and then it'll give the department the time and ability to work within that parameter.
And they have to have the proper reflector tape and signs and everything on them, so people can pick them up. Like cars can see them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we can do that in-house.
Yeah, I'm good with the concrete things.
Yeah, if council wants to, like, again, look at long-term vision planning of what that walkway looks like, I could include that in this resolution, to direct our office to start looking at proposals for potentially another walkway if you wanted to do that again, or something of that sorts, and just get some costing so that it can be planned for in the future.
So this, by changing these concrete things, there's no cost at all for us? Not
It would be
other
very-
than labor to
very
put them there,
minimal, yeah.
and possibly signs, like,
Yeah. It
no
would be-
parking, so, yeah, so something,
It would be very minimal. We would just have to purchase rope
and I know this has come up in the past, but when we put those, we should have remove, like, we put up no parking signs along them, because people have, on the west side,
Yeah.
we have sometimes 2-hour parking signs.
Mhm.
I don't want people, we have people that park there because they want to.
Pull up a sign.
Yeah, and they think
Yeah.
that they're being difficult on purpose.
Gotcha. We'd have to, I would have to see if we have those signs in stock to be able to put them on.
Right,
If
so,
not,
but basic, right now, the cost is minimal. And
yeah,
I'm in
it
favor
would
of
be very minimal.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just, definitely a good idea. My only other thought is whether or not it is going to be an issue for ambulance or fire and not being able to get right up. Like the ones that are there now, they can drive right over. So that would be my only thing that I think they need to make sure it's not an issue for fire or ambulance, that we've got these concrete 2-foot barricades on our streets.
If we have them, there'll be space between them.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put a steady roll.
No, that's a good
Space
idea, that's a good
Between
idea.
it, so just a car or motorcycle
Yep.
will go flying through there.
Yeah, you put enough to get a gurney through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything?
And just to clarify, you had also indicated benches along Main Street.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I've talked to many seniors that actually, 3 of them were last Sunday. They had no place to stop, and I had to help them get their husband that couldn't walk very good back to their vehicle because there was no place to sit. And I've said this for a couple of years, before I was ever here, that I wish there were some benches on Main Street somewhere. West side's the perfect side, it's the shade side. It's the only side of businesses. So I think we should be supplying something for people to sit down on, and a bench is a perfect item because it'll hold 2 or 3 people.
They used to have some. We had them in the past. I don't know what happened. That's like the bike racks, they just disappeared.
We have,
She found some.
we have two benches that are the wooden seat with the concrete base. We have 2 those in stock, and we've got maybe 4 or 5 old cast iron benches that would need the wood completely replaced
Then we should
on
do
it.
it.
So we do have some stuff in stock.
We used to have them before.
It'll need a bit of money just to bring them up to snuff and standards, but there is something in stock that can be worked with. It wouldn't have to be a new purchase.
Thanks for finding that, thanks for reminding me of it. Eric, go ahead.
How many are we thinking for the downtown area? Like every 3rd store or 4th?
Well, it's gonna depend on how many we have unless we buy more, which, I mean, is definitely out there. So we're looking at 7 now, you said?
Approximately. That's if the old like the concrete ones would be fine. The cast iron ones, what shape those are in is not definitive. There might be further issues, but just upon initial inspection, we have potentially.
So that's 2 per block if we use 3 blocks, because when we get down to Johnny's, he's having a patio, correct? Isn't he putting in a patio, or is that wrong? He has chairs out front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they have chairs, and then the ice cream shop has chairs, we don't have to worry about seating there. If we have lots of them, absolutely, let's take some down there. But let's get the other buildings that don't have chairs or anything. Yeah, CG.
Are we not considering this end of the street as well?
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, for the
Okay.
4th
We,
one.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I
yeah,
said.
we should be putting
I
them.
said there's 3 this way, but if we have lots, so we can put 1 there if we
yeah.
are short.
We used to have them up in the 2nd block too.
Yeah. That side.
Oh, it's fair to anybody, everybody
Yeah.
should get them, but right now
No,
we're
no,
working
I
on what we
agree,
have.
it's where you wanna put them.
And I was suggesting that we buy the durable plastic ones, they're double thick. And from out there, they're $69 a piece off of Amazon. If we need some more.
The only problem with those is they're pretty easy to pick up and walk away with.
You have to bolt them down for the summer and unbolt them for the winter.
Into the sidewalk?
Yes.
Well, how many benches would council want? Like if we have
Well,
7, you could
now.
do, like that's
Let's get the 7
That's
already.
a good
Yeah.
amount.
And
Get
see
that
how,
out right
see how it looks.
So-
Yes, you're correct.
I don't wanna commit to buying new benches right now.
The other question I have is, are the business owners gonna have any say with what goes in front of their business or not?
It doesn't have to be, in the past, it wasn't always in front of the business, some of them were, because the sidewalk, I believe, it's 13 feet wide. So you can put them closer to the curb, you know what I mean, so,
You can have them out front.
yeah, you can have them in front, they don't have to be up against the
Okay.
business.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they.
because in the past,
ask for
I know
it.
down by Murray, they used to have a couple that weren't up against any building, they were just there, you could sit there.
And Mayor Potton, while you say you think they would want them, I wasn't saying that necessarily they wouldn't want them. Are they
Oh,
gonna be
no,
able to
no.
have a say if they want one in front of their business?
No, I didn't mean anything
Yeah,
against
yeah.
that, I just,
Yeah.
I would hope they would want them. It gives people a place to sit and eat their food. You just changed that thing.
So based on what council has said, I've drafted 3 directions for administration. So number 1, replace the existing curbs to a barrier that is a minimum of 2 feet tall. That covers that one. 2, place available benches along Main Street. And 3, look into options for future temporary sidewalks.
Yeah,
And then we can start looking into
maybe
different
put on there
considerations.
with spaces between the blocks, or whatever we're gonna put there, so that people still have to get in and out. And for
Okay,
the gurneys and.
And
For the
sometimes
RCMP,
people are,
everybody.
they get confused, and I've seen them, and they don't realize that there's access to the regular sidewalk, and they continue to walk down the street.
Yeah,
So if you butt them up against each other, they're suddenly in traffic,
they're gonna be, yeah, they are.
and they panic.
So do the drivers.
I don't.
I'm not gonna go any further with that one.
Have those crowds if you agree.
okay, so, under the first one, replace the existing curbs to a barrier that is a minimum of 2 feet tall with safety requirement spacing to allow ambulance and fire responders. Does that kind of cover?
Yeah, 4 or 5 feet between them or something,
Yeah,
just so a car can't sneak in.
yeah. Okay,
You're just gonna have it there.
yeah, I've got it here. I've got it here.
Good, all in favor? Carried. Were you making resolutions for the benches and everything too, or that's just something to go for?
It's all within there.
Okay, good. Excuse me. Item 10.9, Lottery at Bandstands Series Policy, number 2025-07. Be it hereby resolved, the council approved policy 2025-07, being the 50/50 Lottery at the Bandstands Series Policy for the town of Winnipeg Beach. Mover, please. Aaron. Seconder? Aaron. Anybody like to speak on it? Sorry, Lynn.
Have we got any groups that have come forward with this yet? Or not? They want to,
We've had numerous groups come forward with interest on this, which is what stemmed this policy, just to establish a proper guideline to allow this to happen at the event. But do note, council, that this policy is not the same as the fire department lottery. That is a complete separate lottery, not overlapping, entirely separate ran, both licensing and operationally.
yeah, so it'll be like different groups coming in.
Yeah.
Like they do at the hotel for the meat draws, the cancer, the Lions, the Legion.
Very similar, yes. So charitable organizations or nonprofits will have the opportunity to apply for dates that they are interested in. They'll automatically be awarded 2 dates to allow for, other groups to be interested. And then if there's no interest for any other dates, then we'll allow the existing groups that have applications in to fill those dates.
Am I correct when I say these draws and these groups that are coming, they have to support the Winnipeg Beach area?
Correct. The wording in this policy does state that under section 4, eligibility requirements, to qualify, a group must be a registered nonprofit or charitable organization, demonstrate that the proceeds of the 50/50 draw will be used to benefit the town of Winnipeg Beach community and its residents, apply and receive a valid lottery license, and then submit proof of licensing to the town.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions? Oh, go ahead.
Mayor Cotton, under number 6, it says, report results and proceeds as required by law and submit a brief summary of funds raised and intended use to the town within 30 days. I think it would be good information to be sharing with the public, so I'm just wondering if it could include provide a a brief summary of funds raised and intended use to the town to be shared at a council meeting. Like, I think it would be good information for the public to hear where the money is
Oh,
going.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, but I just want the organizations to be aware that that will be shared at council meetings.
And the part about 30 days?
No, what their brief summary of the fund, what they're gonna do with the funds.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
the brief report
Their
that they
intention.
give to us.
But
Yeah,
it
I would
doesn't
like
have-
them to know that before they get into it, that it is something that will be shared at a council meeting for the public.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's something like our Lions Club does as well. We say where all the money is going to, donations are going to, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, if council would like that, the policy can be amended to include that wording.
Yeah, we need to know in advance.
Yeah.
Mayor Cotton,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, advance wasn't my intent. If that's what Councilor Jarvis is looking for, then that would be something separate. My point was just that they're gonna provide us with a summary and that it will in turn be provided to the public at a council meeting.
After the fact.
So if Councilor Jarvis is looking for something before, then that is something separate.
I think we should look for something in advance. Because they have 30 days to tell us what they're gonna use it for, and what if after they've got the money, we find out that that's maybe not a suitable way to use the money?
If, it does state that, under general conditions, that the town reserves the right to deny or revoke participation at its discretion if the group fails to meet policy requirements or acts in a manner not in keeping with the spirit of the event.
But is that all after the fact? Or is that prior to?
It would cover both.
So,
If there are provisions, like if we find out information after, we can deny further applications.
I'm just wondering if the lottery license requires them to indicate what the purpose of the funds being raised is.
If you've handed out.
Yes.
licenses-
It does? Okay, so that would come, so then they would have to bring the lottery license to the town, which ironically is where they would get it in the first place anyways. So we would know in advance what the intent is and could therefore deny them the opportunity to even have the 50/50 if it was something we didn't deem suitable.
Yeah, and there will be an application
okay, and
process.
every application crosses your desk?
Not my desk specifically, but yes, it crosses a desk for approval. Do you want it to cross
I
my
think it should
desk?
probably, yeah, like, it depends on whose desk it's crossing. So,
Well, it would be myself or a designate.
I think we know the majority of the groups.
yeah, we've been blindsided before, you know, you find out after the fact.
Oh, unfortunately. So are you changing something there, or it's already in there?
So it does just state that, interested groups must submit an application. Applications will be reviewed on a first come, first served basis. That would just be an in-house process that we can establish for this.
But in the app, when you say they have to submit their intention, the application.
Yeah.
So in that, they would say, this is what we're gonna spend it on.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
So we can do it without changing any wording. And was your hand up, Jean? Sorry.
Yeah, that piece we can do without changing, but I want them to know that their summary submitted is going to be presented to the public.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do we want to put that in a resolution, or do we want to put that on the application?
I think it should be on the application.
Let's, because it's not on the policy that's presented before council, I would recommend adding another, and be it further resolved that the report will be publicly presented to council. And this, or that the following sections, clauses will be added within the policy, that A, the report will be publicly presented to council, and B, that the application shall be reviewed by the CAO or designate. And then I can update the verbiage of the policy without it having to come back to council, if that works.
So we're just leaving this one alone? You're doing-
Just give me one
Yeah.
moment to do that verbiage. So the original resolution as it reads, and be it further resolved that the following paragraphs be added to the policy. 1, that the report will be publicly presented to council, and 2, that the CAO or designate shall review all applications. We're
That's
good,
good to me.
good with that?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Was there anything done last year at all with some of the groups, organizations that came forward, or did they come forward last year? And all with the 50/50?
One 50/50 ran at the bandstand by one organization, which again sparked this whole other organizations and.
So we didn't get any information where the funds went or anything?
Well, the funds were reported under the lottery license that
Yeah.
existed.
Or did we find out where they went or no?
Yes, yeah, it went
Okay.
to, yeah, we do have that information on file.
Thank you.
Everybody good? All in favor? Carried. Roundtable discussions. Go ahead.
Councillor Jarvis and I, who are on the Finance Committee, we had a discussion. Councillor Jarvis realized, and I agreed with him, we have a refund policy, but now that the square has been put into the community center, that's something completely different that doesn't fall within the refund policy that is available. That more deals with programming and things. We would like to request council support an amendment to the refund policy to include refunds on the square machine in the community center for canteen purchases only.
Correct.
Because otherwise, any money coming out of any of our accounts requires 2 signatures. So refunds have to come through the check process, but it doesn't make any sense that somebody would have to wait for a check because they ordered something and then they changed their mind, and then it would have to come to council as the refund policy is written now. So we would like to see that amended and would hope that council would support this so that it's a quicker and easier process for any refunds that need to be done through the square, specifically for canteen purchases.
On the card, off the card.
Yeah,
Well, if somebody orders something and then we find out after they've ordered and paid for it that we're out of stock on it, be that whatever, chicken fingers, they don't need to wait 5 days to get a refund on that. I mean, the equipment we have now is capable of instant refund, like this, and they should be able to do that. The policy states that they've got to go through the office to do it.
I sure don't see a problem with it.
Yep.
I mean, every store does it.
And it keeps track on who's given the refund anyway, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a per shift, obviously.
Yeah.
and just from my personal experience with Square, it won't allow you to give a refund to something, to an account that you didn't do a transaction
It has
on
to.
in the first place.
It's
So it won't allow a cash refund. If it was on a card, it's going back on the card.
Mhm.
And maybe that needs to be included in the policy,
Mhm.
is that the refund is done with the original form of payment.
Yeah, it'll ask for a transaction number when you do that. So it'll say transaction number 1295, so it has to correlate to an actual order. It cannot just indiscriminately take money out of there, so
Okay, yeah, and so that in itself might identify that.
Regardless of
original
cash
payment,
or
yeah,
non-cash,
original payment was MasterCard, this is only going to put it back on that MasterCard.
yep.
Okay,
If council would like to do that, we can do a resolution to give direction to update the policy with that verbiage.
The canteen only purchases.
Yeah, yeah. We can do that after council does their resolution for the council committee and board reports, if that works.
Yep.
Anybody else went to any committees? Only ones I went to were here.
Development. Yeah, we had a couple meetings with development already. At the golf course area, we had questions, they had questions. Everything seems to be going
tickety-boo.
Yep.
We're just waiting for some external governments to put their foot in and come up with some answers, etc. So like I said, that's going pretty good, and anything, like I say, with development for this town should go forward. Increase our tax base for sure, because every year taxes are gonna go up. Cost goes up for machineries, for everything, wages. So we have to, and every town, every province, everybody over the world is looking for housing. And we cannot be stagnant on this. We have to give it our 100%. So I think we're doing pretty good with that so far.
Yeah, I
I
think
thank
the meetings-
everybody that was on the
The
committee
meetings
that
went
showed.
very well, I thought.
Yeah.
So that was the only committees I went to. I talked to hundreds of people on the street, but I mean, that's roundtable discussion, but it's not a committee of stand. So, can I get a mover for this, please?
Accept.
Seconder, Dean. Be it hereby resolved, the council approves the council committee and board reports as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Carried.
Okay, all right, I've got a resolution drafted up for the refund policy review. Be it resolved that council direct administration to review the refund policy to allow for provisions to do refunds on the square terminal at the community center for canteen purchases only. So does that cover all the bases? Okay, I'll let you get a mover.
Yeah, mover, please.
Who would you like to be?
Jean.
Jean?
Carrot.
Okay.
Seconder.
Second.
Barry.
Oh, sorry, Barry.
Barry, okay.
All in favor? Carried.
All right. Got it.
Okay, next. Agenda item 14.1, accept correspondence. Mover, please. Seconder. Larry. Be it hereby resolved, the correspondence be accepted as circulated. Supposed to have made that first. All in favor? Or any discussions?
Yeah.
Good. All in favor? Carried. Oh, we're there already. Agenda item 15.1, in camera. Be it hereby resolved, the council moves in camera at
7:27 PM.
Cool. To discuss personnel matters and matters that are in the preliminary stages, and be it further resolved that any matters discussed while on camera be held confidential until such time as discussed in open council. Mover, please. Seconder? Barrett? All in favor?
Boy, sure.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
You're voting? Yeah, no.
Actually, that was through very quick.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thank you for telling me. Again, my condolences.
Aren't these things a pain? Finger in it so the water doesn't come flying out.
There we go. Audio is there.
Should do a cartwheel over it.
Video.
Yeah. See a pair of legs go.
All right.
Can we wait for the picture or we're good?
Nope, we should be good.
Okay, agenda item 15.2, out of camera mover. Oh, sorry. Be it here resolved, the council moves out of camera at
9:26 p.m.
and resumes the regular meeting of council. Mover, please. Seconder, there. All in favor? Oh, I already signed that one. Oh. I thought maybe I didn't write it on that. Also, carried. Agenda item 16, adjournment. Be it here resolved, the council adjourns the May 28th, 2025 regular meeting at the same time.
9:27.
Mover. Larry, seconder. Larry, hey, easy one.
You look this way.
Here.
All in favor? Thank you.
Okay.
It's been swell, guys.
Do the camera. Sorry, guys.